Kancana Salakya Chachurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurive Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manopishtam Stavitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupakathamahyam Dadati Sapadatikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yudapadakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatanyada Tam Sajiva Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahana Lilita Sri Vishakhanyatamscha Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudhe Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyacha Kripa Sindhubhyev Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Namaha Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Buddhasya Namne Namaha Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Buddhasya Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswati Gauravani Pracharya Nurvishesha Shunyavadi Pracharya Desai Mukam Karoti Vajalam Bandhulangiri Yat Kripa Tamahamande Sri Gurum Dinatharim Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Sharam. So Hare Krishna. We'll reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, Text 18 and 19. So Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Abhidreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhakti Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandaraja Nandagopal Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Nama Pankajanabhaya Nama Pankajamalini Nama Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajankare Sri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari Nath Narayana Vasudeva. So first we read text 18. You can see my screen, no, Prabhu? So Yasmat Bhipebhyo Hamapi Dviparartha Tishnaya Atyasitah Sakalaloka Namaskritam Yat Tepe Tapo Behusahova Rurut Samana Nastasmai Namo Bhagavate Adimakaya Tupyam. Translation and purport by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Your Lordship, Lordships, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are indefatigable time and the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Although I am situated in an abode which will continue to exist for a time duration of 2 pararthas, although I am the leader of all other planets in the universe. And although I have undergone many, many years of penance for self-realization, still I offer my respects unto you. Purport. Brahma is the greatest personality in the universe because he has the longest duration of life. He is the most respectable personality because of his penance, influence, prestige, etc. And still he has to offer his respectful obeisances unto the Lord. Therefore, it is incumbent upon all others who are far, far below the standard of Brahma to do as he did and offer respects as a matter of duty. So, this section, Lord Brahma is speaking to Lord Brahma is speaking. I mean, in Vidura Maitreya conversation, Lord Brahma is Lord Brahma is it is talking, offering prayers to the Lord after the Lord Vasudeva manifests before him. And after many, many years of his penance and austerities, Lord blesses him by personally coming in front of him. So this section actually has 3 divisions, we can say. First, Lord Brahma describes in the conditioned living entities plight. And then he says how they are misled by the illusory energy of the Lord without realizing the goal of life, how they become so, they are come to accept this life in material existence as as their fate. Then Lord Brahma is offering glorification to the Lord. So now yesterday Mukunda Prabhu was talking about how Vishnu Archana is the purpose of human existence, but how people are so deviated from thinking away from the Lord. They have this plan or that plan and loses the purpose of goal of life. So here in this verse, Lord Brahma is offering his obeisances to the Supreme Lord. He is speaking about his own exalted position to the time. The Lord is the time himself, personification of time. That is inexhaustible time, indefatigable time. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Kalosmi, I am time. So, and he is the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Because in Bhagavad Gita 5:29, Krishna says, Bhoktaram etnadavasam sarvaloga maheshwaram suhurdam sarvabhutanam jnatva shantim richati. So, to that exalted personality of Godhead, Brahma is offering his obeisances, respects. He talks about his exalted position. That is, he is the leader of all other planets in the universe. And his duration of life is 2 pararthas. That is, incalculable for our intelligence, actually. We can come up with some number in trillions of years, trillions and trillions of years. So even though I have such a great duration of life, I am the leader of all planets, all other planets in the universe. And although I have undergone many, many years of penance for self-realization, still I offer my respects unto you. So So it was not immediately understandable for Lord Brahma. All he could see was the darkness around him and the waters of devastation, endless waters of devastation. And he found himself sitting on his lotus, and he does not know where the lotus come from. He went up and down the stem of the lotus to see the origin. He could not see. Then he heard the two syllables, tapa, tapa. That means observe austerities, do tapasya. So he followed that instruction and sat there for many, many celestial years, not in our earthly time scale. And then Lord was pleased with his austerities, and then he is offering this prayers to the Supreme Lord. So Srila Prabhupada is saying in the purport, even such exalted personality as Lord Brahma, he is the first created being and the most, and his is the highest position. His influence, prestige, etc. In spite of that, he is offering his respectful obeisances. So Srila Prabhupada said, and he showed by his own example, always giving prostrated obeisances before the deities of Radha and Krishna, so that people of this Kali Yuga, they learned conduct, proper conduct in the presence of the Lord. How to worship the Supreme, how to offer respects. So this I wanted to say something else. So we in ISKCON, we are all very used to hearing Dandavat Pranams, offer fall like a stick in front of a Vaishnava. And we know to give the devotees respect by giving obeisances. In Lord Shiva's prayers in fourth canto, chapter 24, Lord says, the devotees of the Lord are as respectable as the Lord himself. So this is something which, because of familiarity, we tend to take it lightly. How to show our respect to our the great devotees and the Vaishnava sannyasis and all that. So at least in our hearts, we should pay our obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees and the Brahmanas, etc. Even though physically we may not be able to, give obeisances depending on the time or place and circumstance, So that is this verse. So in this, especially in this age of Kali Yuga, people have no humility, no respect for others. And that is the main reason why this even when we were young, we used to give so much respect to our teachers, and in the nowadays what respect the teacher commands, no respect, and the students are behaving so so unpredictably without any respect, and even not even safe the classrooms or the universities and all that. So we know how only in Bhagavatam we can see these beautiful examples of a devotee of the Lord being greeted with so much respect. And Srila Prabhupada showed by example, and then his disciples were so eager to follow what he taught. So whenever in videos we can see when Srila Prabhupada arrives, they shower flower petals, So this is all, this is in Kali Yuga, Srila Prabhupada has brought so much, given us what it is truly to be humble and respectful to the spiritual authorities, to the Lord, etc. Hare Krishna. So we will move on to the next verse now. So this is continuation of the same thing. Tiryang Manushya Vibhudadishu Diva Yonishu Atmechayatma Krita Sedu Paripsayayah Reme Nirasta Vishayopya Avaruttha Deha Tasmai Namo Bhagavate Purushottamaya. That is Tiriyan Manushya Vibhutadishu Diva Yonishu Atmechaya Atmakrita Sedu Paripsayaya Reme Nirasta Vishayopi Avaruttha Dehas Tasmai Namo Bhagavate Purushottamaya. That is okay. I forgot the word-to-word meanings in previous verse. We are doing here. Tiryak, that means animals lower than human beings. Manushya, human beings, etc. Vibhudadishu, amongst the demigods. Jiva yonishu, in different species of life. Atma, self. Ichaya, by the will. Atma krita, self-created. Setu, obligations. Paripsaya, desiring to preserve. Ya, who. Reme, performing transcendental pastimes. Nirasta, not being affected. Vishaya, material contamination. Api, certainly. Avaruttha, manifested. Deha, transcendental body. Tasmai, unto him. Namaha, my obeisances. Bhagavate, unto the personality of Godhead. Purushottamaya, the primeval Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. O my Lord, by your own will, you appear in the various species of living entities, among animals lower than human beings, as well as among the demigods, to perform your transcendental pastimes. You are not affected by material contamination. You come just to fulfill the obligations of your own principles of religion. And therefore, O Supreme Personality, I offer my obeisances unto you for manifesting such different forms. Purport. The Lord's incarnations in different species of life are all transcendental. He appears as a human being in his, human being is not very, anyone who mistakes him for an ordinary human being, but, he appears as a human being in his incarnations of Krishna, Rama, etc., but he is not a human being. Anyone who mistakes him for an ordinary human being is certainly not very intelligent, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9:11. Avajananti mamudha manushim tanumasritam. The same principle is applicable when he appears as the hog or fish incarnations. They are transcendental forms of the Lord and are manifested under certain necessities of his own pleasure and pastimes. Such manifestations of the transcendental forms of the Lord are accepted by him mostly to enliven his devotees. All his incarnations are manifested whenever there is a need to deliver his devotees and maintain his own principles. So in this verse, Lord Brahma is offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord, who appears in so many different forms, as his incarnations. Sometimes as a human, sometimes as a fish, tortoise, or hog. So all these are sometimes among demigods, etc., to perform his transcendental pastimes. And whenever the Lord descends, he is not affected by material contamination. That is, he does not come under the modes of material nature. He is Trayesha. That is, he is always above the modes. And he comes just to fulfill the obligations of his own principles of religion. And therefore, O Purushottama, I offer my obeisances to you. So, what are these his own principles of religion? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirvavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srajamiham. That is, whenever there is a the glani, dharmasya glani, that is when the religious principles are broken down, and then rise of religion. At that time I come. Lord has said in Bhagavad Gita 4.7. And then paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkrata. That is, Lord appears to give protection to his devotees, to deliver his devotees, and to destroy the miscreants. But then people think the scientists will say this appearance in the form of a fish or a hog or a tortoise, we can come up with some theory of evolution based on that. Then as a human, like Lord Rama or Krishna or something like that. It is not like that. There is nothing connected with our understanding of the different species of life in the 8.4 million forms that we are familiar with, the scientists are familiar with. Lord does not belong in any of those categories, even though he may appear like a fish or a hog or a tortoise or a human. He is neither one of and does not belong to any of these categories. He comes for his own purpose. So we can never understand the purpose of the supreme absolute truth. Why he would take this form, why he would conduct himself in such a way. This is all according for his, only he knows the absolute meaning of all these things. We can only guess at, like Kyun Kunti, in her prayer she says, some say that you have taken birth to please the pious kings, like King Yadu's dynasty, to give pleasure to such to satisfy them. Some say you have come to teach re-establish devotional principles like Sravanam Kirtanam, all those processes. Some say you have, because Devaki and Vasudeva have pleased you, and you have appeared as their son, like that. So even great devotees, they can only try to guess at what is the purpose of Krishna's appearance. It is by the two words, Atmechaya, Atmakrita Sedu, Paripsaya. Yeah. So it is for his own pleasure and his own purpose. Who is more intelligent? Who is beyond the Supreme Lord? Why he would appear sometimes as a fish, and the fish pastimes, it is so beautiful to remember. It is just so small when King Satyavrata picks it up in the water, from the water of the river, and like it is in his palm. And then he immediately asked to be transferred to his pot, and then he fills that pot, and then he immediately says, take me to a pond, and then he immediately fills that pond. Then he goes to the lake, and from there to the ocean, like that. So it is so bewildering to our imagination how the Lord makes his appearance and his activities, and how he talks with the king Satyavrata. about the principles of Dharma, everything. And he fulfills his desires to see the beauty of the season of, the beauty of devastation. And he takes him around the waters and show him all the pralaya, prakriti. Then, similarly, he appears as a tiny, tiny, the size of a thumb when he appears as a hog from Brahma's nostril. Because Lord Brahma is thinking, oh, now the planet is under the water. How can I ask, how can creation happen? So at that moment, Lord shows up from his nostril as a very tiny, form of a hog. And then he becomes so huge, and he goes into the horizon, into the sky, and has his plays, and makes his wonderful sounds, and even the higher planetary systems, they are able to perceive the Supreme Lord, even though he is in this form of the hog. And then he goes and into the water and kills Hiranyaksha, and lifts Mother Earth on his tusks. So these are all his wonderful pastimes, which nobody can. When it happens, and how it happens, all this is Supreme Lord only knows. Then of course, it's very interesting, his appearance as Lord Vamanadeva, as a very small dwarf Brahman boy. And he is so effulgent. He enters the arena of Bali Maharaj. And then Bali Maharaj, he knows the Kshatriya cannot deny charity. So he is going to defeat Bali Maharaj. But he goes like this young boy and is so effulgent. Everybody looks at him so affectionately. And Bali Maharaj says very generously, you ask me anything, I am the emperor, I can give you anything. He asks only 3 paces of land. And come on, the Bali Maharaj says, I can give you a village, I can give you a planet. Ask me something more. But Lord says, he speaks about those who desire more than what they need. And, he chastises how people's desires sometimes, go sky high. And why should they desire so much? Then he says, I would be satisfied with a mere 3 paces of land. And then, of course, Shukracharya knows this is a Supreme Lord, and the Bali Maharaj is going to lose everything. He tries to dissuade him, but Bali Maharaj is even more enthused. If it is the Lord himself, I have to give him everything. I have to lose everything to him. So then Vamanadeva discloses his true form. In mere 2 paces, he has the whole universe under his control. And he is saying to Bali Maharaj, where shall I put my 3rd foot? So his pastimes are all, and the intent and how they are enacted, how he would behave like that. All this is up to his own, his Swarat, his own. We can never understand fully his pastimes. So, regarding this, and similarly, when we look at Lord Chaitanya's activities, he goes to the Varanasi, and he is chanting and singing, dancing, everything. And then the Mayavadi's stronghold, Varanasi is the stronghold of Mayavadi sannyasis, and they are talking about him being a very sentimentalist, and not knowing the Vedanta and things like that. And then finally he get invited there. and then he takes a humble position. He just sits at that place where they wash their feet. And then Prakashananda Saraswati himself shocked. Oh, this effulgent personality, how he can sit in that place. So he tries to bring him into their assembly and give him a nice seat and everything. Then Lord Chaitanya speaks to them and conquer them and make them devotees. So the humility and so we can never predict how the Lord is going to conquer the situation, So nobody could do that kind of preach to that kind of very deep rooted philosophers or jnanis, the principle of devotional service, and then they all become his devotees, and he is highly praised and respected. So in this respect, I just came across this verse in my research. Yamunacharya is saying, one second, we are in 8 o'clock, past time already, but just let me recite this verse by Yamunacharya. Ullankita trivitha sima samadishayi sambhavanam tava parivratima स्वभावं माया बलेन भवता निगुह्यमानं पश्यन्ति केचित् अनिशं त्वदनन्यभावा. So translation is, oh my Lord, everything material is within the boundary of time, space and thought. That is Trivitha Sima, Ullankita, that is you stand defeating, that is you defeat all these 3 boundaries of space, time and thought, because all others thinking is only so much when compared to the Supreme Lord's thinking. And he has no time limitation, space limitation or anything. But so far your characteristics are concerned, they are transcendental to all such limitations. Although such characteristics are covered by your illusory energy, yet those who are constantly engaged in your service can always observe such transcendental characteristics. So, the Lord is covered by his yoga maya, so he remains in that aloof from our common chachu. I mean, even the trained shastra chachus, they are only able to observe such transcendental characteristics. We do not have the capacity to understand the Lord's activities and pastimes only by devotional service. And even Lord Shiva says in his prayers to the Supreme Lord, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva himself, Lord, all are like surrendered. They know to a very high degree, but they also do not claim to know the Supreme Lord perfectly well. So only through devotional service, the bhaktyamam api janati, maya yastasmi tattvadaha. That is only through pure devotional service we can understand the Lord. And that's all. I mean, I'm sorry I went above the time limit. Please forgive me. I think, I must have misspoken so many things. Hare Krishna. Please forgive me. Any questions or comments in a couple of minutes, maybe, Prabhu? If no questions, then we can end the call, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Please.
Hare Krishna.
My humble obeisances.
My humble obeisances.
All close to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you very much for reminding us of these very wonderful principles and explaining so nicely through Lord Chaitanya's pastimes how we can, do this. And Lord Chaitanya's example is so nice. How even with great kind of Mayavadi scholars, he wins them over. And it comes to show that in every situation, almost every situation, well, in every situation, but aside from like maybe like fighting a battle like a king has to, but in every situation, this Vaishnava approach always works.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
And you are the example of this. You're always so humble, even though you're so senior.
Oh my Krishna!
Always inspiring.
Oh no, when I hear some lectures, I feel like I should go into the earth. I mean, so I am so packed with the puffed up thinking. Really. Please accept my humble obeisances too. We can barely hear you, I think. Huh?
Is it better now, Mataji?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I was speaking on the car speaker. Yeah, I second Gopal Hari Prabhu. It's really so nice. I mean, the way you present, whenever you present or share Srimad Bhagavatam, one thing I really appreciate is you actually have very deep understanding, even scholastically. But it doesn't somehow come like that when you speak. The way your tone and your heart probably, it just comes like so sweetly, so softly, as if like, oh, this is just my humble understanding. If somebody speaks like me, I'm like, I know this point. Let me actually say this so that I can be seen as some scholar. So it's really so sweet. Thank you, Mataji. I just wanted to hear a little bit about, I know it's already past time, but when I heard this, when I read this verse in the purport, I remember Prabhupada mentioning Supreme Lord actually wants to benefit other living entities also. So he actually takes, he appears in different species.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to pose as some college argument or something. Because we hear only human beings are capable of understanding the Lord or the spiritual science. And so in that sense, even if the Lord appears in these species, they may not really be able to understand anything. Of course, we have it.
I mean, whether they benefit, whether they benefit, like by appearing as the fish, whether other fish will derive some spiritual understanding.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point. So, or is it just to help people like me to break our misconceptions that Krishna can appear in any form, in any shape or size, whatever, but it doesn't matter. He is the Supreme Lord, and so to expand our perspective, is it just for that purpose?
Well, I'm not sure I can, tell anything. Gopal Hari Prabhu, I can say something. I'm sorry, I don't know this one.
Mataji, what was the question again? I'm sorry. I missed.
That is.
Prabhu, the question is, go ahead, Mataji, you can repeat.
I think I understood this way. That is when the Lord appears in different species, like a fish or a tortoise or something. Do other in other species of life, is there any spiritual benefit? Will they derive, like other fish or tortoise or like that? Will they derive any spiritual benefit?
In one purport, Prabhupada says that Krishna's preaching work goes on. His preaching work goes on in other species as well. Not generally, rarely, but it goes on. So like this is actually Prabhupada. I wish I remembered where it was, but distinctly he says, like, when the Lord appears as Varaha, as Matsya, all these things, and then in those species as well, there's the propagation of Krishna and Krishna's pastimes and all these things. So yes, it goes on there.
Okay, thank you. That satisfies you, Amritakali Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah, that was the specific context I'm asking, Prabhu. I also remember that purport. I thought it is this purport only. I might be wrong, but I remember it actually continues to go on. And I'm like, okay, what do they understand? Does Krishna preach like, mystical ways, in mystical ways?
Like we have seen. I mean, I watched this Disney movie, in Nemo fish movie, and in that, have you watched the Disney movie, Understanding Nemo or something? The Nemo is the character.
Finding Nemo, I think.
Something like that. Yeah. It is. I mean, you will think, oh my goodness, it is so like human. They're communicating and their affections, everything. Maybe there is something going on in those worlds. We don't know, really.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for material example to understand a spiritual thing. Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, but when he appeared as the Varaha, it is very clearly described how he, how the denizens of the upper planetary systems recognize him from his sounds, and then how he plays in the sky and his huge form. But everybody recognizes this is a supreme Lord, himself like that. Yeah, so it requires special insight to, to recognize the Lord in different forms and different situations. So thank you so much. It's 15 past actually. Rashmikant Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much. I could not hear whole class. I heard only last 15-20 minutes. I was but it was so sweet, Mataji, about when you were explaining about Varahadev, Amandev, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How, I mean, nobody knows that they are the Lord when they first appeared, right? So
yes, it's full of religion. When you read, you feel so like, full of nectar.
If you talked about Nrsimhadev also, right? So I don't know.
Yes, and Nrsimha, there is no drama like Nrsimhadev's appearance. Everybody, where is this sound coming from?
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you. Vancha kalpadarupya kripa sindhupya patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki